Welcome to Healthcare Entrepreneur Academy, where we seek to educate, motivate, and inspire professionals into starting their own healthcare businesses. Learn from leading healthcare entrepreneurs and other business experts as they share their journey and provide a glimpse into their playbooks for success. Loaded with valuable insights and actionable strategies, this show will guide you on your path to freedom. Now, please welcome your host, entrepreneur, healthcare practitioner, and MBA, Jason Duprat.
This episode is sponsored by my free presentation for the Ketamine Academy. If you're tired of long hours, constantly being on call, or having to give up your nights, weekends, and holidays, all for an employer that only thinks of you as a productivity number that they're trying to maximize, then it's time to break free from the hospital grind, become your own boss, and finally take control of your professional trajectory. It's time you start your own practice. I know it sounds really scary, maybe even a little impossible. I get it. You got student loans, you're working tons of hours, and you may not even be a physician. Well, I am here to tell you that it's absolutely possible. Starting my own clinic was exactly how I started my healthcare entrepreneur career. And there's one specific type of clinic that almost anybody can open. Ketamine therapy is one of the most promising treatments in the fight against depression, PTSD, and chronic pain that we've ever seen. And thousands of patients across the country are looking for clinics in their area. The problem is that there aren't enough yet. And these patients need someone like you to open a ketamine practice in your hometown. Go to ketamineacademy.com/presentation for a no-cost 60-minute training on how to gain more freedom by opening up your own clinic. On the presentation, you'll discover why opening your own private clinic is a better decision than working more overtime or going back to school for another degree, why this one specific niche clinic is the easiest to open and doesn't require a bunch of cash to start, and how anyone can open this type of clinic, even if you're not a physician, by just following a few simple steps. So to register for this free training, just go to ketamineacademy.com/presentation. Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Healthcare Entrepreneur Academy podcast. I'm Jason Duprat, and I am your host, and we are back here again for another Tactical Tuesday, where it is just me, you, and the mic, and I share a little bit about what we've been going through in our business to hopefully help you in your business. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about marketing and sort of what's involved with getting your business's marketing sort of up and running and optimized. And so I want to talk a little bit about agency marketing, hiring an agency versus hiring your own in-house marketer who's primarily working for you, sort of the pros and cons of each, and sort of what the differences are, highlight some of the differences. So basically, when it comes to marketing, there's a heck of a lot that's involved, and some people don't really realize, the depth of what's involved in marketing today. There's a huge variety of marketing mediums. There is digital marketing. There is print marketing. There is something called content marketing, which includes blogs and YouTube channels and podcasts. There is social media marketing. There is paid ads. And with that, there's all sorts of different paid ads. There's billboards. There are paid Facebook ads. There are Google ads. There's magazine ads. There's landing pages that need to be created in order to market your product or service. And there's even email marketing and entire software systems developed to get emails out and to help create more revenue and sales. So there's a heck of a lot that goes into marketing, and I 100% do not recommend that anybody completely start from scratch doing their own marketing. I feel like you should 100% either bring on an agency or somebody who does marketing full time, because there's too much of a learning curve. Unless you have lots of marketing experience or business experience, there's just too much to learn, and it's going to slow you down. So you should hire an expert for sure, to help you get things going quickly. Some of the differences between agencies versus, hiring your own in-house marketer, there's quite a few differences. And some of the things that sort of stand out are, the agencies are pretty expensive, but they tend to have all of that sort of talent that goes into, creating a solid marketing plan. They have essentially what I like to call the three essential components of developing a marketing plan for your business. And so let me just go over those real quick. So the first one is is like the ability to understand the tech of marketing. The actual tech is like a specialty in itself. You not only have to understand a little bit about the psychology of marketing just to set up the tech, but you also have to, know how to run paid ads on Google or Facebook if you're doing, digital marketing. If you're doing those types of marketing, you have to know how to set up all the tracking software so that way you can track the conversion rates, the CAC, the customer acquisition cost, the lifetime customer value, and the ROI, the return on your investment with ad spend. And so that's sort of the tech of marketing. You have the other major component of marketing, which is the ability to write, the copywriting of marketing. And you also have the graphics and design work that goes along with creating all these marketing campaigns. And so those are the three major components of what it takes to get a good marketing plan in place. And these agencies tend to have all of the experts in the various areas to help you create and execute your marketing plan. But with that comes a cost. They probably have a substantial payroll. They've had to go through the interviewing process and find people who are good at copywriting, find people who understand the tech, find people who can understand the metrics and conversion rates and ROI. They have to go find graphic designers. And so they have already assembled a team, and for basically the convenience of utilizing their team, they charge a premium on that. So typically for most agencies, you're not going to find any good agencies who charge less than $2,500 a month, who are going to handle all these different types of services for you. $2,500 a month on the low end for somebody decent. And then it's going to go way up, like all the way up to 10 grand a month for an excellent company who's maybe also including, video recording, video production, the video editing, because that's incredibly time consuming. And that's a whole nother skill set that is hard to find and acquire. So that's sort of the range for an agency. And like I said, the advantage is it's a one-stop shop. You don't really have to go find experts in all these different areas yourself. They've already done that for you. And the downside is that they're, one, expensive, and two, typically these agencies have multiple customers. They're not just working for you. And so it takes them a while to get up to speed, and because of that, sort of the onboarding process can be sort of slow and tedious. And then as things are progressing with the marketing, even after the onboarding process, you may find that they tend to take on more work than they can handle. And so a lot of times, your company is not going to be their top priority oftentimes. And that's just a fact of life. They take on multiple clients. And so they're split between sometimes dozens, if not hundreds of different clients. So it's tough to, find somebody who's like invested in your company, an agency that's invested. And, there's some strategies to sort of help mediate that. Some companies pay, a percentage of revenue increases to the marketing agency. I've done that before, not a huge fan of that model. There's some downsides to that as well, which we can talk about in a different podcast, or you guys can ask me about that in the Facebook group. So that's another downside is that it's, you can sometimes, your company can get left on the back burner and because they're working on other projects simultaneously. And, when it comes to hiring your own in-house person, that also has its own pros and cons. Some of the major things there to consider are that you are going to have to find probably a couple of different individuals. It's really, really hard to find somebody who is good at all of those, the three components of marketing, the tech, the copywriting, and the graphics design and artwork type side of things. So that's really, really challenging. It's going to usually take, 2 or 3 people to fill those slots. And obviously with hiring somebody for your team, you have to make a job post, job descriptions. You have to conduct interviews, maybe multiple interviews. And so that's obviously a very time consuming and tedious process. And if you don't know much about marketing, it can be really hard to even know the questions to ask as you are evaluating and interviewing different candidates. And so if you don't know what the questions to ask because you have no experience in marketing, you're going to be really struggling. And so for me, what I did is I chose to hire a marketing agency, and it cost me a lot. I did give them a percentage of sales, a pretty large percentage above industry standard, mostly because I didn't know what I was doing when I started. And so they made a lot of money, but they were also, because of that, quite invested in ensuring that we were generating a lot of revenue. But along with that sort of model, and I'll go ahead and just talk about that here briefly, along with that sort of percentage of sales incentive model comes some sort of ethical dilemmas on their part, because they get a percentage of sales. And so they tend to, at least the agency I was working with, tended to go and modify some of the marketing copy, some of the videos, some of the infographics that we have. And I actually caught them sort of fluffing the numbers, making things look better than they seemed. And very quickly, as soon as that was discovered, I gave them one chance. They did it again. They've actually were running promotions without checking with me, steep discounts, so that way they could boost their sales and take home a bigger percentage. And so there was a lot of sort of unethical things that happen sometimes in marketing agencies when they're getting a cut, because they're pushed to increase sales and motivated to increase sales. And sometimes they don't care about your brand or business, and they're going to do that in sort of a shady fashion. So that was my experience with that. Not all agencies are the same, but that's something to pay attention to and be cognizant of if you are going to pay a percentage of sales to a marketing agency, to sort of incentivize them and encourage them to be more committed to your business. So that is, one of the things I went through when I hired that first agency. But one thing that was phenomenal about hiring an agency up front is that you can basically connect with, they gave me access to their entire team in a chat channel. So I had access to Facebook ad buyers. I had access to graphics people. I had access to the tech, and I was able to ask questions. I was able to get some really rapid information and learning experiences from them. So we did compensate them a lot, but I'd learned an insane amount in a very short period of time, because they had already brought on a bunch of experts and gave me access to them all. So what we did actually, after a while, we ended up terminating our marketing agency. And at that point, I had learned so much about marketing, internet marketing in particular, that I knew exactly all the questions to ask. A lot of the stuff was already set up, and it just needed somebody to maintain and sort of all the tech was set up. So it needs somebody to maintain it and keep it going, make slight improvements. But that marketing agency ended up going out of business shortly after, within like a couple of weeks after us firing them. And we were able to scoop up Francis, who you've heard on the podcast before. Francis is amazing. He's one of the few who marketers that I've come across that can wear multiple hats. Excellent in tech, excellent in the psychology of sales, excellent copywriter, can do some basic design artwork stuff. So we ended up bringing Francis on board, and initially it was part-time. We've transitioned him to substantially more than part-time, and it's been a phenomenal decision on our part. We love working with Francis. He's great at what he does. He's a great communicator, and he's a great marketer, and he's very reliable. So for us, that worked out well. And that's a situation that I think, or a step-by-step process that I think would work for anybody who's just getting started. Hire the marketing agency, learn from them, learn the questions to ask when you're if you're going to bring your own team on board, and then start to bring in your own in-house marketers, because it's going to save you a lot. You're going to have more control, and you're going to be able to have a team, or maybe if you just start with one, you're going to be able to have somebody on the marketing side of things who is vested in your company. You're going to be their main client, their main source of income. And I think that's a great strategy. It worked well for us, sort of not even intentionally. We didn't really plan to do it that way. It worked out that way, but I would recommend sort of following that similar path if you are just getting started. Now, if you're not just getting started, then you can hire your own marketing in-house staff right off the bat. Right now, we have Francis in-house. So we're doing sort of a mixture. We have an agency, which is Dan Ryder. He was on the podcast. He is PharmD, former pharmacist turned marketer, and one of his main areas of focus is ads buying. So we have him. He runs his agency, and he does our ad buying for us. But Francis pretty much handles everything else. And so we do sort of a joint model or a combination model where we have agency and in-house, and that's working really well for us. Anyways, guys, I hope that this sort of breakdown of agency versus in-house marketing, what the three essential components of marketing are, which was the tech, the copywriting, and the graphic design components. I hope all that makes a little bit more sense for you now. Hopefully you get a little value out of this and learn a little bit about what's working for us, what has worked, what didn't work. If you guys got any value out of this podcast or any other one, I would love it if you would do us a huge favor and just share an episode and join us in the Facebook group. It's called the Healthcare Entrepreneur Academy Facebook group. You just search it in the top bar. You can request to join it. A lot of our podcast guests have been on that group, and I'm in there all the time. And so that's a great place to start asking questions, network with other entrepreneurs. Some are very experienced, some are new. So you'll get some really good feedback. I'd highly recommend joining that Facebook group. And if you do, I will see you in the group. You can just shoot me a friend request and tag me with any questions you have, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you enjoyed this Tactical Tuesday episode, and we will catch you on the next episode of the Healthcare Entrepreneur Academy podcast. Have a great one, guys.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Healthcare Entrepreneur Academy. Want to connect with more like-minded healthcare entrepreneurs and professionals? Just head over to jasonduprat.com/group to join our Facebook family for real-time interactions, insight, and resources to get you one step closer to realizing your goal. We look forward to interacting with you, but until then, we'll catch you on the next episode of the Healthcare Entrepreneur Academy.